welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same.
It's the Dan Naturman Show. And here he is, your host, Dan Naturman. Hello, it's the Dan Naturman Show, and we are back after a long hiatus, being welcomed back by the theme from Welcome Back, Kotter. And with me once again, Rob Azanari is back.
He's back, and so is the announcer, I see, all three of us.
The whole team is back in place for Dan Naturman Show. Here we are once again, a lot of people, I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of people stopping me and saying, Dan, when are you going to bring back the radio show? And I say soon, and as promised, although not really soon, it took a while, but here we are. The people ask me, Dan, now why did it take you so long? What happened? Why did you stop doing the radio show? Mostly, it's hard. It's a very fine line because I have to have little enough going on in my career that I'm motivated to do something, to think outside the box and do something like the radio show for no money, but not have so little going on in my career that I'm paralyzed with depression. So that's the fine line that we're treading in order to do a show like this. But I'm newly invigorated now because you may have noticed, you may say to yourselves, wow, the sound quality is a lot better than under the old show. And that's because I spent $600 on a Behringer mixer,
wow,
as well as a Firewire something or other that converts to whatever it does so I can stick it into my computer. I've also got these microphones from Shure microphones.
It's very fancy. We're a long way from when we used to
It
just
looks
talk into the
fantastic.
EMAC monitor.
And we're gonna, we've taken it up a notch.
Long way. Remember we used to talk right into the monitor, Mike? Now we have these two fancy
Beautiful
microphones.
They look like real microphones. We even have mic stands.
I'm sitting here watching the levels bounce on the mixer.
It's beautiful. Now, I just did, for some of you may have seen me on the Letterman show that aired. Rob, did you see my Letterman set, by the way?
I missed it.
Why'd you miss it?
Well, because I thought it was Monday, and then it turned out it was Friday, and
I did Letterman on Friday night. I taped it Monday, but it aired on Friday. And I'll tell you, I've done now 2 Lettermans. I've done 4 Conans, all told. And I got to tell you, with each one, it's less and less exciting. People congratulate me all the time, like, Dan, congratulations on you doing Letterman. And I'm like, well, thank you. It's like it's not a big deal anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, the next one you get, give it to me, I'll do it.
But the point is it doesn't mean it used to be in the old days when you would do one of these shows, you could wake up the next morning a star. If you did Johnny in the 80s.
David Brenner?
No, if you did Johnny Carson in the 80s and early 90s.
That's how David Brenner got famous.
Right. I guess that's an odd example, but okay. But the point is,
the next day he was a household name because Johnny waved him over and nobody knew him before that.
Yeah, but nowadays I do 100 of these shows. It doesn't mean anything.
Don't mean nothing.
They pay me $1,100 to do it. But here's the thing now is one of the things is you do these shows, all right, you're going to make a little bit of money, and maybe there's 1 in a billion chance somebody will notice you.
Buy yourself a mixer.
By the way, I wore the same suit on Letterman that I wore when I did it in 2000 because it's my only suit, and I wore it in 2000.
You have to wear a suit.
I know, but Letterman likes when you wear a suit, but I only have one suit, and I wore the same suit in 2000 as I did in 2006. You may also have seen me in that suit at Manny Dworman's funeral.
I did.
Manny,
what about
the owner of the Comedy Cellar, as well as my niece Brooke's bat mitzvah.
And what about that wedding you went to?
Well, which wedding was that?
Roth Farb?
I think that predated the suit, but maybe not. But my friend Brian Nessing got married. I wore that suit. And if should you get married, or God forbid, part this earth, that suit will once again make an appearance.
It might part the earth. It could happen.
Well, we'll hope it doesn't. But if it does, you can be sure that my blue suit will be there, will be on hand.
Well, I'm just honored you'd go.
And if you invite me to your wedding when you get married, then also that suit will be. I told Letterman as he came over, because Letterman he could care less if you live or die. I could drop dead. I mean, he could care less. I don't even know why he has comics on, because he clearly doesn't care. Like when you do Conan like talks to you, and he'll say hello and all this. But Letterman, he comes over, he says thanks for coming, and that's it. And then I said, I'm wearing the same. He said thanks for coming back, because he doesn't remember.
Somebody
but
had told him.
Somebody told him he was here before. So I said, hey, it's the same suit. And he's like, all right, very nice, very dismissive. And then within 10 minutes, I'm back on the street with Jeff Nichols.
Oh, he went with you?
He was there, and then we went out to dinner. But one of the reasons that these shows are fun to do is you're hoping that you'll have an exciting guest on. And those of you who saw the show know that the guest was Charles Grodin, which obviously, Grodin. I mean, we all love Charles Grodin. We certainly remember him fondly from Midnight Run. But you're hoping like Charlize Theron will be on, or maybe Scarlett Johansson. But Charles Grodin's not the most exciting guest. The top 10 list they do, it should have been top 10 less exciting guests than Charles Grodin.
That would have been good.
They didn't do it. And matter of fact, since they didn't do it, why don't we do the top 10?
Top 10.
Why don't we do the top 10 guests less exciting
exciting
than Charles Grodin?
Charles Grodin.
Okay, number
I think
10.
you shot out of a cannon today.
What do you mean?
You're going 100 miles an hour. But you're jacked up.
I'm back, and I'm back, and I'm back, and I'm you know, whatever. I'm
You're all
back, and I'm
juiced
not
up.
taking hostages this time. I'm
Who's
not taking
the
prisoners, I should
number
say.
10?
Number
guest
10, top
worst.
less exciting
worst
guest
man.
than Mr. Charles Grodin, who's I think he's 73 now,
Who cares?
and he's showing it.
Who the hell cares?
And with all due respect to Charles Grodin, but again, you know, not very exciting. He's not exactly now. Top 10 less exciting guests than Charles Grodin. Number 10, Family Feud host John O'Hurley.
Mr. Peterman.
Mr. Peterman, but he's also now the third because the second guy killed himself, and Richard
He's actually the
Dawson-
fifth. Because remember Louis Anderson had it for a while?
That's right. No, it was that other dude.
And the other
That
dude
fatso.
from
I mean, not Louis Anderson's a fatso. But
from
there's
that
another
Tim Allen
fatso.
show.
Yeah, exactly. So he's the fifth.
You might get that show soon.
Dawson, I guess, was the best, but you know,
Dawson was the best.
What's he doing now?
Gro-
I didn't
groping
know
chicks.
that Dawson, why he was famous, but like he was famous from Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes. He was an actor, yeah.
I just thought he was like the guy from Match Game that eventually got
Eh,
Family Feud.
Well, probably that is mostly.
Number 9, fitness guru Jake Steinfeld.
Body by
Fitness
Jake.
Guru, Body by Jake Steinfeld. We haven't seen him in a while.
Obscure reference.
Number 8, Miss Ruth Buzzy.
Ruth Buzzy from Laughing.
Was that where she was from?
Laughing
she wasn't
fame.
from.
What?
I'm thinking Bob Newhart's show. Who?
Laughing, buddy.
Okay, number 7, the guy from the Sprint "Can You Hear Me Now" commercials. Can you hear me now? The "Can
Yeah.
You Hear Me Now" guy.
I would say nobody wants to hear what he has to say.
Right? Can you hear me now?
That's
We'd
a
rather
lousy,
not.
That's a lousy guess.
He's like he's got to be a millionaire.
With all those nationals, yeah,
Yeah,
he's doing
but-
pretty good.
But
How many years does he get nationals out of that?
number 6, the Love Boat's
National
Lauren
commercials.
Tweez. Lauren Tweez.
From the Love
You
Boat, your
remember her?
cruise director
She was
Julie.
your cruise director.
She have a drug problem or something?
Yeah, they threw her off the show for drugs, and they replaced her.
Well,
with-
it was the 80s.
Number 5, Joyce DeWitt.
Joyce DeWitt.
DeWitt,
From Three's Company, the one with the dark hair. Janet?
who I never thought was
Janet,
hot.
right?
Yeah, Janet. But number 4, Jared Fogle, the Subway guy. Remember, Fat
Ugh,
Jared, but
yeah.
he's Subway.
You know,
guy, huh?
I bet he actually has been a guest recently, probably.
Maybe not on Letter. Yeah, but he might have been.
He probably
Number
was.
3, syndicated columnist George Will.
George F. Will. God bless you.
Number 2, Elke Summer. Remember
Elke
Elke Summer?
I don't.
You don't know Elke Summer?
I know she was in Playboy or something, but I don't know why I know who she is. It's
Well,
very
back in the
obscure
70s,
reference.
remember in the 70s they had all those like, those movie of the weeks was like an all-star cast.
Yeah.
They'd have like Simon McCorkindale, Gil Gerard, Chad Everett.
Simon McCorkindale.
Who were other those actors, in those days?
Of that ilk?
Of that ilk, of that
Gil
movie of the
Gerard
week,
ilk?
of that movie of the week.
Lee Majors?
Lee Majors.
Lorenzo
It's an
Lamas. Does that
all-star
predate
cast.
Lorenzo Lamas?
She was in a movie. I looked at. I googled it because I remembered her from a movie. I just wanted to confirm. There was a movie with what's that dude's name? Trapper John, Wayne Rogers,
Oh, yeah.
called The Top of the Hill about bobsledding. It was a TV movie,
Oh, yeah?
and she was in that.
There's not enough movies about bobsledding.
Okay, so let's count down the top 10, and then we'll get to our number
From
1.
10 to 2.
10 to 2. John O'Hurley, fitness guru Jake Steinfeld, Ruth Buzzy. Number 7, guy from Sprint "Can You Hear Me Now" commercials. Number 6, the Love Boat's Lauren Tweez. Number 5, Joyce DeWitt. Number 4, Jared Fogle, the Subway guy. Number 3, syndicated columnist George Will. Number 2, Elka Summer.
And the number,
The number 1 top 10 less exciting guest than Charles Grodin is Dan Naturman. Well, I didn't see that one coming.
The only guest worse than him was on the show.
I'm not sure that that's fair, but that's what the top that comes
The
from.
people have
the
voted.
people have from our extensive voting. Voting, yes.
Yes.
By the way, you can see me. I don't know if it's online yet. Remember, I told you I did that comedy covers for the Jim Brewer Show, satellite
You did
radio.
it? It's done?
I did it on Thursday, and I did.
Oh, I wanted to see it. You were
comedy.
supposed to tell me.
Well, I was a little nervous. I was doing. They had this thing at Caroline's Comedy Club called Comedy Covers, which everybody went up and did another comedian, and I did Chris Rock, the black people version.
So in other words, yeah, another comic would go do Comic A would do Comic B's act.
Exactly.
So
it
you
was called
did
Comedy
Chris
Covers,
Rock's act,
and it was
part of
being it aired on Sirius Satellite Radio. But I did Chris Rock's act. But not only did I do Chris Rock's act, I did Chris Rock's famous, maybe one of the most famous bits of the past 10 years: black people versus
N-words.
N-word. But I did it without saying with real words.
Did you know in New York it's illegal to say that now? They actually passed the law that you can't say that word.
That should be part of our news roundup. I didn't catch that.
I don't know why. It was in the newspaper.
Well, I certainly said
I don't know what every black comic in the city's going to do.
I said it so many times that I should be up for a life sentence at this point because I did his whole, the black people versus niggers, and and the niggers have got to go.
How'd it go?
And I did it as me. I didn't do it as Chris Rock. And they loved it. The crowd went wild.
I told you that.
It was all white people.
I told you they would love it.
Only black people there were wait staff, and I was like kind of looking after I got off stage. I was like afraid to order. It was like, should I don't know. Should I order?
Dan was panicked the week before
this,
this, and I told him you got to go full bore as you, because he was thinking about doing it in rock impression. I said, no, you go as you.
I also thought about doing it as Seinfeld, which might be funny, but not.
It's too much.
Hey, everybody.
So I bet you crushed, right?
Is
it online? Where is it?
Have got to go. And then I thought of doing it as Gilbert Gottfried. I asked the niggers, but I ended up doing it as Dan Naturman.
That's what I told you. That was my advice, ladies and gentlemen. And how did they go?
I told you how it goes.
Crushed. Where is it? You didn't tell the people. YouTube. How do you find it?
I don't know if it's on YouTube yet.
Oh, I thought you said YouTube. Oh, it's serious.
It's serious. You go on Jim Brewer Unleashed.
You should put it up on DanNatterman.com.
You know what? We'll have that for you in a future edition of Dan Natterman show. By the way, next week we have next week's show we have an exciting show. We have a guy that shit his pants coming in, a special guest, a guy that actually shit his pants
as an adult.
As an adult, I think we've all come close, but very few have actually taken a full dump. I'm not talking about like a little kernel that comes out. I'm talking a full dump in his pants to such an extent that he had to throw away he had to throw the suit the way that he was wearing. Okay, this is a relatively quick show this week. Next show
the comeback show.
Is the comeback show. We're working some of the bugs out. We got new equipment, and we're learning how to use it. But with each show, expect to see more and more, as we gain more and more expertise with our equipment, you certainly expect to see a more and more professional-sounding show with each one. Part of the charm of our show, I think, is its unprofessionalness to some extent. But anyway... But it's a little more professional now. But so now, if those of you who were fans of the old show, of season 1, if I guess, for want of a better word, remember, of course, that we ended each show with our famous weekly news roundup, and obviously that we have kept that segment, the weekly news roundup. So without further whatever, and of course, here we are. Do we have a theme song this week? I guess not. Because we didn't put it into the mixer. Okay, because we have a mixer now. All right, so I'll just announce it. The announcer will announce it.
Yeah, the announcer.
And now, the Dan Natterman Show Weekly News Roundup with your anchorman,
hey,
Rob Storm Azanari.
Storm, I love the announcer. We're going to give him more to do. He is good. Very,
Rob, what
very
is in the news
man.
this week? I'm all ears.
It's not exactly. Well, let's just say what's in the news between when we last did a show and now.
Well, not when we last did a show. That was like 2 years.
Well, this is not necessarily
within the
week.
last week or so.
All right. I'll narrow it down.
Thank you.
I was going to talk about some old stuff. No, but here we go. The 79th Annual Academy Awards was held last Sunday night in Los Angeles. Remember? Did you watch?
Typically where they have it.
Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of it.
When was the last time it was in New York?
Probably the 50th. I don't know. Was it ever in New York?
I thought it was fairly recently. Was it after 9/11 or something? Did they bring it back, or they thought about it?
I don't think so. No.
Anyway, the big winner was, of course, Scorsese. Martin Scorsese for The Departed, picking up the Oscar for Best Picture. So that was obviously your creme de la creme. It won the producer and director, too. So it was Best Picture and Best Director. And Best Adapted Screenplay. I didn't even see that one. So it won 3 Oscars, The Departed. Did you see it? Yeah,
it's a good movie.
I didn't see it.
It did. Well, a lot of it didn't make sense, but it was good.
Forrest Whitaker.
But movies like that never make sense. Any kind of movie where there's that, like...
Triple crossing.
Where there's double... and the people are always trying to figure it out, like, as if... It's like, they're like, but I don't understand. No, the reason you don't understand is because it doesn't make sense.
Did you see The Skeleton Key? Something I didn't want to know.
No.
How about Poseidon?
I didn't see that one either.
All right. I saw those 2 this weekend. Anyway, Forrest Whitaker, who was not in The Departed, won Best Actor for his portrayal of Idi Amin in The Last King of Scotland. And you probably never will. It's one of those kind of movies. It's like never.
Well, maybe I'll see it on demand.
Britt Helen Mirren won
Britt
Best
Helen
Actress.
Mirren?
Here's a movie.
Britt, Helen Mirren.
Britt, comma.
That's not her name.
No. British
woman
British
Helen
thespian,
Mirren.
Helen Mirren won for Best Actress for her role in a movie you'll never see, The Queen. Didn't what's her name do this? The other one? No, it's the
Kate
old
Blanchet?
Queen. Yeah, it's a different Queen.
No, you're thinking of...
What was that called, though?
I think it was called Elizabeth.
Oh, Elizabeth. All right.
Rob, I don't know, do you know Perez Hilton? He's a guy that's online that gets a lot of celebrity
gossip.
He's got people all over the country that give him information. We're very much similar to that. We had our own spies. The Dan Natterman Show has people all over the country that send us inside dope. We had our own people at the Oscar parties on Oscar night sending us information on what people were saying on the scuttlebutt at the Oscar party. So we give you this is from our spies in Hollywood, our sources, which we protect vigorously. Overheard at the Oscar parties. What did they report? Exclusively from our spies in Hollywood. These were quotes that were overheard at the various Oscar parties on Oscar night.
Go.
Oscar party quotes. Martin Scorsese, big winner Martin Scorsese, overheard saying this. You know, now that I've won an Oscar, the only thing left on my lifetime to-do list is bang an Asian chick.
I feel he's probably done that.
You think so? Well, not according to our spies in Hollywood.
He might have said that to his wife, because I think he's probably done that.
You never know. I've never banged an Asian chick.
Well,
how about yourself?
Maybe that was you that said that.
Robert Downey Jr. I tell you, you can't get rid of this guy.
No.
He was skulking around the Oscar party. He wasn't up for anything, I don't believe, but he was skulking around the Oscar parties. Overheard saying this. Whoa, you're the little girl from Little Miss Sunshine. Hey, you know where I can get some coke?
Did you know?
I didn't get that
Don't separate Robert Downey Jr. from his drugs. How come he can do all the drugs in the world and his career gets better?
Oh, because it's not a real job. It's acting.
It's amazing.
Al Gore, winner for his documentary film, Inconvenient Truth. Yo, Penelope. I guess he was talking to Penelope Cruz. Yeah, must be. But this is all they said was Penelope. I'm assuming Penelope Cruz. Yo, Penelope, looking at you, I got some global warming in my pants right now.
Hi-oh.
Yeah, that's not that good.
That's not something that Gore would say. Guess Tipper would.
Well, you don't know Gore when he's been
a horny
drinking.
bastard.
Madonna, she's all over the Oscars. She's all over everything around. But here's her quote, according to our sources. I better get home. Lourdes doesn't like to be alone with the black kid.
The new black kid.
The new black kid. I think his name is David.
Yeah, of course it's David. David the black kid.
Yeah. So Lourdes apparently doesn't like to be left alone with him, so Madonna couldn't stay up. Helen Mirren. We just talked about Helen Mirren.
Yeah, there she is again. What'd she say?
According to this, she says, I think I'd rather be worst actress and not resemble an 80-year-old woman.
Wow.
Prefer to actually be...
Well, she had a big rack.
Not able to play convincingly an 80-year-old woman and maybe not be the best actress.
Is that why she was bouncing around, rack exposed at the Oscars?
She didn't look bad. She's in her 60s, I believe.
She looked bad for a 60-year-old broad.
Everybody, but people take this so seriously. I thought a guy like Scorsese, he's considered to be the grand old man of, a really respected director. Okay. And you'd think a guy like that wouldn't really give a crap about the Oscars. Everybody's like, oh, because it's all bullshit. But,
yeah, tell me
and he's like, I finally won an Oscar, whatever. You'd think he'd just why would a guy like that who's so respected give a crap about some...
They all convince themselves that this is to validate their salaries.
Woody Allen was the only one who... and I guess also Brando, right? They would never show up.
Yeah.
Which was
Woody Allen
cool.
was playing in his jazz band.
Woody Allen didn't show up, but then I think he did show up.
Yeah,
after with the Soon Yi, he figured he needed some spin control on his career. Anything else about the Oscars, Raz?
The Oscars, no.
It. Okay. What else is going on in the news?
Friends and family said goodbye to Anna Nicole Smith on Friday at funeral service in the Bahamas. In his eulogy, boyfriend Howard K. Stern called Anna Nicole...
K is for Kevin, I believe.
Okay. He called Anna Nicole a true entertainer. Mind you, truer words were never spoken.
Okay, all right, if he says so.
When my work is done, I promise you, I will come home to you again, both you and Daniel, Stern said while teary-eyed at the service. Isn't that beautiful? Daniel, not his son.
Are they ever going to do a DNA test on that kid?
None of these kids are his, but he's going to return.
I saw the kid in the post, and I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking Burkhead. He had that round kind of Burkhead look.
Well, now Jaja's husband's in the mix, too.
No, forget him. Forget Jaja's husband. It's
Michael
going to be Burkhead or it's going to be Stern. But I looked in the post, and I said, that kid looks like Burkhead. But I was just over my sister's house, and my niece looks like Larry Burkhead, too. I think Burkhead just has like a baby look.
Baby head?
He's got a baby head, I think, because he's got smaller features. Like Stern has a large nose.
They shortened it at Ellis Island. Maybe it was baby head.
Could be.
It's possible.
No, so at first I'm thinking, that's definitely Burkhead, but then I think that just babies look more like Burkhead.
You gotta see how the baby's nose
I think
develops.
Well, yeah, or if right.
Because Howard K. Stern is no joke in the nose department.
I believe he's of the Jewish faith.
Well, he's no joke in the nose department.
I think that we'll definitely find out in a few years. It'll be obvious. Obviously, at some point it's going to be obvious because Burkhead. I don't know if they're doing the test, but Burkhead and Stern look different enough that it's going to be obvious at some point.
Right.
Now, whether they do a DNA test at some point, we're going to know who this kid is. Now, but the thing is, they're both so cocksure that it's their kid. You know, wouldn't you? Like, I wouldn't. I'm never that. I don't know about you, but I'm never that. I never say, yeah, I'm gonna like. I'm never.
Yeah.
I always hedge it. I always hedge it.
Right.
Because I don't want to be embarrassed.
Right.
Because they're so he's gonna look like an idiot if it's
One
not
of
his
them's
kid.
gonna look
One of them look like a jackass.
I don't even care about that. I want to
He's
know
just
how
like,
Anna
look,
Nicole
I
Smith
think
is,
it's my kid. If it is my kid, God bless. If it's not, I hope she's a stripper.
Aw.
That's what I would do. I
Okay.
said, if I was Stern, I'd say, if this Burkhead, if this is, I hope it's mine. If it's Burkhead's, I hope she becomes a prostitute. I could care less.
Oh, I came out of Nicole, his love. I don't care about any of that. I want
Yeah,
to
but
know.
Anna Nicole's his love until she finds out that he was with Burkhead.
I want to know how Anna Nicole Smith is a true entertainer.
We have to allow for a little license. The eulogy.
What,
The
just-
eulogy, by definition,
All right,
is you're
but
saying good things about a person.
Well,
you
may
don't
as-
go to a eulogy and say, look, let's face it, she was no great
All right,
genius.
but let's call her.
She had a big pair of tits, and that's about it.
Let's call her.
But she was my baby. You know,
let's
you
call her
can't
a
do
ba-
that.
Let's call her a black voodoo god. Then I mean, there's no.
Well,
there's
no, but
no
she was an
substantia-
entertainer. There is some basis for that.
What did she?
She truly entertained. A lot of
took her
people were
clothes
entertained
off.
by her. No, she didn't.
She did. That's what got her famous.
No, that's what started her off. That's what. But no,
That's
she got
the-
famous because of Guess jeans.
Yeah, what she got? She took her clothes off.
Not for Guess jeans, she didn't.
Well, she was topless, but you saw
I
her
met
back.
her backstage at Jimmy Kimmel a couple of years ago, and I tell you,
I
she
remember that.
was like, I don't know what planet she was on. She's like, hey. She was like, hey. She said to me, hey, you were really funny. Like, she couldn't have been more on some other planet.
All right. Well, as we know, Wall Street took a big dive this week.
Well, we didn't know that because
everybody knows.
if you're like most comedians, you don't have money on Wall Street. But
do you have money on Wall Street?
I don't know. It doesn't affect me.
Triggered by a drop in Chinese stocks. The Dow dropped, whatever this means, 416 points on Tuesday, which was the 7th worst single-day loss ever. I don't even know what this means. I'm sure it's bad.
It's bad for a lot of respectable people. Now, Rob, you have most of your money tied up in your Metro card.
My money's
So-
tied up in cash and equities and Metro cards, Toys R Us gift certificates.
But for those who have money on Wall Street, well, we hope it always seems. I don't know why they make a big deal. It always comes. But when does it ever not come back in the history of Wall Street?
Always does.
It always comes back. I mean, it's gone. It'll be back.
I'll take you down, Gecko.
It has never in the history of Wall Street
Can I
not
tell you this?
come back.
Can I tell you this? What I know about Wall
So
Street?
relax. It's coming back, babe.
Blue Horseshoe
Maybe
loves,
take a year.
Blue
Maybe.
Horseshoe loves Endicott steel.
Anacott steel.
That's right. So there's your stock tip.
Is
for
Wall
this
Street
week.
even risky? Does
Right.
anybody not, if you have your money in like a diversified portfolio over the course of time, nobody's lost money. Nobody's
I
lost
couldn't even
money.
tell you.
I don't think it's possible. If
Couldn't tell you.
I mean, if you put all your money in something stupid, yeah.
You'll-
But if
I
you got
think
like a
you'll lose.
GM and Ford and a few of those things, but
Apple. I
what else
really-
we got
I
here,
really don't know.
Roberto?
Ah, it looks like
Rob,
another
how long have we been on the air, quote unquote?
83 minutes. It looks like another adoption for Angelina
No, we haven't been on
Jolie.
for 83 minutes.
Did you know that?
Another
was
adoption?
Now running for Mother Teresa, but she, according to the Vietnamese official Vu Duc Long,
Vu Duc Long?
Jolie has filed papers to adopt a child from that nation. No confirmation as of yet from the Jolie Pitt.
Are they gonna name the child Vu Duc Long Jolie Pitt?
They probably. They call it Brangelina Luck Duck.
Now, do you think Brad is down with this, or Brad is just like,
Automobile.
what can I do? She's my wife. I mean, yeah, whatever. She likes to.
I think he's lost his mind.
But do you think he's down with this shit, or it's just like she's doing it and he's just like, whatever? What am I gonna do?
I think all of these celebrities have lost their damn mind.
Well, no, they're gonna get divorced because all celebrity couples do.
Always.
And do you think Brad Pitt is gonna say, you know what? I'll just you can have I'll take the white one and you can have the.
What did Tom Cruise
you
do? He
take
had the
take
same
the rest
thing.
of them, huh?
What did Tom Cruise do? He had the same thing. He adopted those black kids.
Are
from
they
God knows where.
are they still with him?
I don't know. So I'm asking you.
Yeah, I think they're.
They're with Kenny Chesney.
Maybe it's
now?
like, you know what, you can have whatever. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. Like I don't know. It's a weird dynamic because you got this Shiloh chick who's their real daughter,
Right.
and you know the press is gonna be all over the. I mean, is the press
She'll
really
be the
gonna?
Paris Hilton of
Is
20
she?
years
But
from
you're
now.
saying I'm saying like in years to come. Do you think that Zahara and Maddox are going to get the same, and Vu Duc Long or whatever this new kid's name is?
No.
And
Of course not. You know that.
and
I know that.
Pad Thai Jolie Pitt is going to get the same attention as Shiloh, who has a beautiful baby, by the way. Not as cute as my niece, who's sort of
They all
a
look
Larry
like Burkhead.
Burkhead-ish looking. Yeah, but they all look sort of like Burkhead. What else we got in the news, Rob? Is that it?
That's it.
Well,
That's
this was a
comeback.
short show, but
This
we
is
had to
officially
get some of the
comeback
kinks
show.
out, and we had to get some of the equipment. We're rolling now. Rob, take us out old school, if you please.
You got it. Welcome back and goodbye.
Be sure to tune into the next edition of Dan Naturman Show, where we have the guy who shit his pants as an adult.
Can't beat that.
A whole dump. And more exciting things.
Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around.